Rogers Media is a subsidiary of Rogers Communications, which owns Canada's largest publishing company, Rogers Publishing Limited, which has more than 70 consumer and business publications. Rogers Media Inc. also owns 52 radio stations, and several television properties, including terrestrial television stations and cable television channels. History. Rogers Media was created in 1994 after the acquisition of McLean Hunter Properties to manage all television station and specialty channels, radio stations and publishing assets. The division is split into two areas: broadcasting, publishing. Rogers Media holds Rogers Communications radio and television broadcasting operations, as well as the consumer and trade publishing operations. Other television properties in the Toronto Blue Jays and Rogers Centre. Rogers Media also produces content and conducts e-commerce over the Internet relating to many of its individual broadcasting and publishing properties. The group has 52 radio stations across Canada, both the City and Omni television networks consisting of 10 television stations. The division also operates specialty channels, including Sportsnet, OLN, G4, and others, and also owns an interest in the pay-per-view service Viewer's Choice. Through Sportsnet, Rogers Media also holds 50% ownership in Dome Productions, a mobile production and distribution joint venture that is a leader in high-definition television production and broadcasting in Canada. Rogers Media's publishing group publishes more than 70 consumer magazines and trade and professional publications and directories in Canada. Broadcasting. Rogers Broadcasting Limited operates 52 Canadian radio stations, including formerly 3 FM stations launched in the Maritimes in October 2005, Omni Television, which operates 5 multicultural television stations, City, which operates 7 stations in Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Montreal and Saskatchewan, with 3 privately owned affiliates in Prince George, Kamloops, and Medicine Hat. Sportsnet, a specialty sports television service licensed to provide regional sports programming across Canada. The Shopping Channel, Canada's only nationally televised shopping service. The Biography Channel Canada, acquired outright in August 2006 when Rogers bought out the 40% stake owned by Calgary's Shaw Communications and A&E Television Network's 20% ownership and a majority and managing interest in G4 Canada, a technology-themed digital channel. Rogers has returned to Canada's third-largest radio broadcaster behind Bell Media and Newcap Radio. Rogers also is a partner in Detour and Viewer's Choice. Rogers also is a non-managing partner in OLN, although on November 16, 2007, it was announced that Rogers will be acquiring 100% interest in the service from the remaining interest holders, CTV Globe Media and Comcast. Some of the better-known radio stations are CHFI Toronto, KISS 92.5, CJCL Toronto, CFTR Toronto, and various stations operating under the Jack FM brand. In summer 2006, Rogers acquired 5 stations from OK Radio in Alberta and, with regulatory approval, will be operating in Edmonton, Fort McMurray and Grande Prairie. Existing clusters of stations are in Vancouver, Victoria, Whistler, Calgary, Lethbridge, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Kitchener and Halifax, Moncton, St. John, NB. In 2007, Rogers entered a tentative deal to purchase the A-channel stations, CKX-TV, Access Alberta, Canadian Learning Television and Sex TV, the channel from Chum Limited, as part of the latter company's pending takeover by CTV Globe Media. On June 8, 2007, the CRTC approved the CTV transaction of Chum, but it added a condition that CTV must divest itself of City TV rather than A-channel, effectively voiding the deal. On June 12, it was announced that Rogers had made a new offer of $375 million for the City TV stations. On June 28, Rogers further offered to sell the two religious licensed Omni stations in Winnipeg and Vancouver as part of the City TV deal, although the company stated that it intended to retain the multilingual licensed Omni stations. That same year, Rogers also applied to the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission to acquire a 20% interest in CP24, a local news channel in Toronto which shares the same staff and resources from City TV Toronto. In early December, CTV withdrew the application and announced that Rogers Media and CTV GM had come to a deal in which Rogers waived their 20% stake. In July 2008, Rogers filed an application with the CRTC to launch a separate 24-hour news station to be affiliated with City TV Toronto, and to be known as City News Toronto. On December 10, 2008, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission approved the application by Rogers to launch City News Channel, a 24-hour cable news channel that served the GTA starting October 3, 2011, but which was shut down in 2013. On March 1, 2007, Rogers filed an application to operate a new English-language FM radio station at Parry Sound, Ontario on a frequency of 94.7 MHz with 10,000 watts. The station proposed a rock music format. Rogers' application was denied on January 16, 2008. Over the years, Rogers acquired a minority interest in the web-based video production firm, VooGuru, in 2009. It had entered into an agreement to buy London, Ontario's radio station, CHST-FM from Chum Radio, a division of CTV Globe Media. On August 25, 2012, Rogers Media acquired Score Media's broadcast business for $167 million, including a 10% stake in its digital business. The channel has since been rebranded to Sportsnet 360. In November 2013, Rogers Media signed a 12-year, $5.2 billion deal with the NHL to carry all national games that took effect in the 2014-15 season. Publishing. Rogers Publishing publishes more than 70 consumer magazines and trade and professional publications, digital properties and directories in Canada, including Maclean's, Canada's weekly news magazine, its French-language equivalent, L'Actualité, Chatelaine, Flair, and a variety of other magazines and the companion websites. The publishing arm was once part of the Maclean Hunter publishing empire.